What if one of the biggest celebrity stories on the internet was never actually confirmed? What if a single viral caption, a few questionable images, and a short clip were enough to convince millions of people that Tom Holland and Zendaya were about to enter the biggest new chapter of their lives? For days, social media has been filled with whispers about something fans have started calling Baby Spidey. The idea sounds almost too perfect. Tom Holland, the actor who became one of the world's most recognizable versions of Spider-Man, and Zendaya, one of Hollywood's biggest stars, supposedly preparing to welcome a child. Romance. Hollywood. Spider-Man. A mysterious announcement. And a story powerful enough to dominate social media. But there is one problem. The story is much bigger than the evidence behind it. And once we separate what was actually shown from what the internet claimed was happening, a very different picture begins to emerge. So what really happened? And how did an unconfirmed story become something that looked, to millions of people, like breaking celebrity news? Let's go back to the beginning. Tom Holland and Zendaya have always attracted enormous attention. Ever since their relationship became public, fans have watched almost every appearance, interview, photograph, and interaction between them. But there is something particularly fascinating about this couple. They don't constantly put their private lives on display. And that privacy creates a strange effect. When celebrities share everything, people eventually become used to it. But when two extremely famous people keep their relationship relatively private, even the smallest detail can become a major event. A photograph can become a headline. A comment can become a theory. A simple appearance can become an entire internet investigation. And that is exactly the environment in which the Baby Spidey story exploded. According to the viral narrative, Tom supposedly chose to stay home with Zendaya while friends were preparing to go out. On its own, that doesn't prove anything. A person choosing to spend a quiet evening at home with their partner is completely normal. But online, ordinary details can quickly be transformed into clues. Fans began asking questions. Was Tom protecting Zendaya's privacy? Was something happening behind the scenes? Could the couple be preparing for a major announcement? Then the story became even more dramatic. Some viral posts claimed that Tom had been asked about a DNA test. And according to the story circulating online, he supposedly responded with complete confidence, allegedly saying he was 1,000% certain the baby was his. That sounds like the kind of quote that would instantly become headline news. It is dramatic. It is personal. And most importantly, it sounds like a confession. But there is a crucial question. Where is the verified evidence? That question changes everything. Because when a celebrity makes a major statement, especially one involving something as personal as pregnancy or parenthood, there should be reliable evidence. A complete video. A credible interview. A direct statement. Or, most importantly, an announcement from the people involved. But the viral story doesn't provide that level of confirmation. Instead, it appears to rely heavily on social media posts, captions, short clips, and images whose context is unclear. And that is where things become complicated. The live stream mentioned in the viral story appears to exist. Tom can be seen speaking and interacting during the footage. But the existence of a real video does not automatically prove the story being attached to it. This is one of the biggest problems with viral celebrity content. A genuine video can be paired with a completely misleading caption. Someone watches the clip. They read the headline. They assume the two are connected. Then they share it. Another person sees the repost. They share it again. Soon, the original context disappears. All that remains is the claim. And suddenly, speculation starts looking like evidence. Think about how quickly information travels online. One person makes a claim. Another account turns that claim into a screenshot. A third account creates a video. A fourth account adds dramatic music. And suddenly, thousands of people are discussing something that may never have been confirmed in the first place. That is exactly why the alleged DNA comment needs to be treated carefully. If there is no clear, verified footage showing Tom making that statement in the claimed context, then the quote cannot simply be presented as an established fact. It remains part of the rumor. And then came the images. This is where the story became even more convincing. Images began circulating that appeared to show Tom and Zendaya alongside pregnancy-related material, including what viewers interpreted as a pregnancy test or ultrasound. For fans, those visuals were powerful, because images feel different from words. A headline can be questioned. A rumor can be ignored. But when people see a photograph that appears to show something private, the brain naturally wants to believe it. It looks like evidence. It feels intimate. It feels like something that was never supposed to become public. And because Tom and Zendaya are known for protecting aspects of their private lives, the images seem to fit the story perfectly. But there is another problem. A realistic image is not automatically a real image. We are living in an era where photographs can be manipulated with incredible precision. Old pictures can be edited. Faces can be altered. Bodies can be changed. Entire scenes can be created digitally. And artificial intelligence has made it even easier to produce celebrity images that look convincing at first glance. That means viewers have to be more careful than ever. A picture appearing online does not automatically establish when it was taken, where it was taken, or whether it has been altered. And this is especially important when the subject is something as personal as pregnancy. A fake or manipulated image can create an enormous emotional reaction before anyone has time to verify it. That is exactly what makes the baby Spidey rumor so interesting. It isn't simply a story about Tom Holland and Zendaya. It is a story about how the internet works. It shows how quickly fans can connect unrelated pieces of information. A private moment becomes a clue. A photograph becomes proof. A rumor becomes a headline. And a headline becomes something people repeat as fact. But there is still a major question hanging over everything. Why did people believe it so quickly? The answer may have less to do with evidence and more to do with how much people genuinely care about this couple. Tom Holland and Zendaya aren't just two famous actors. For millions of fans, they represent one of Hollywood's most recognizable modern romances. Their relationship began in the public eye. Their careers grew alongside enormous global franchises. And their chemistry has been discussed by fans for years. So when a rumor suggests they could be entering a completely new chapter together, people naturally pay attention. The story becomes emotionally irresistible. Fans aren't just asking whether there is a baby. They're imagining what the next chapter of Tom and Zendaya's lives could look like. And that is precisely where speculation becomes dangerous. Because once people become emotionally invested in a possibility, they start looking for confirmation everywhere. A change in clothing becomes a clue. A missing appearance becomes a clue. A quiet night at home becomes a clue. A photograph from months ago suddenly becomes relevant. And before long, everything appears connected. But sometimes, things are simply what they look like. A quiet evening can just be a quiet evening. A photograph can just be a photograph. And a viral caption can simply be a viral caption. As of the evidence described in this story, there is no verified official announcement from Tom Holland or Zendaya confirming that they are expecting a child. And that distinction matters. Because there is a huge difference between fans are saying it and Tom and Zendaya confirmed it. Those are two completely different statements. And until the second one happens, the first should remain exactly what it is. A rumor. But the story doesn't end there. Because the most fascinating part isn't whether the internet can create a rumor. We already know it can. The fascinating part is what happens when that rumor becomes so widespread that people begin waiting for the celebrities themselves to respond. And that is where the baby Spidey story becomes something much bigger. Because if Tom Holland and Zendaya really are preparing a major announcement, the internet is already watching. And if they aren't, this may become another perfect example of how quickly celebrity speculation can outrun reality. But there is still another side to this story. What happens when millions of people see an image and believe it before anyone verifies it? And what happens when a simple rumor becomes a full-blown narrative? That is where the second part begins. The internet has a remarkable ability to turn a question into a story. First, someone asks, could Tom Holland and Zendaya be expecting? Then someone else says, look at this photo. Another account posts a video. Someone adds a dramatic title. Another creator repeats the claim. And suddenly, the question disappears. People stop asking, could this be true? They start saying, this is true. That transformation is the real story behind the baby Spidey phenomenon. Because the most dangerous part of a viral rumor isn't necessarily the original claim. It is what happens to that claim after thousands of people repeat it. Every repost makes it feel more familiar. And familiarity can create the illusion of truth. The same story appears on different accounts. Different videos discuss the same supposed evidence. Screenshots circulate. Comments fill with people saying they knew it. And eventually, someone who has never seen the original source may assume the story must be legitimate simply because everyone else is talking about it. But popularity is not proof. And that is something celebrity fans have to remember. Especially when the story involves people's private lives. Tom Holland and Zendaya have spent years living under intense public attention. Their careers are constantly discussed. Their appearances are photographed. Their relationship is analyzed. And even ordinary moments can become international entertainment. That makes privacy incredibly valuable. So when an unconfirmed story claims to reveal something deeply personal, the responsible approach is not to immediately believe it. It is to ask questions. Where did the story originate? Is there a full video? Is the quote available in its original context? Has a reliable source confirmed it? Have Tom or Zendaya personally said anything? And perhaps most importantly, is the evidence actually evidence? Those questions become especially important when AI-generated or manipulated content is involved. Today, a fake celebrity image doesn't necessarily look fake. That is what makes it so dangerous. A manipulated photograph can look natural. A digitally altered body can look believable. A fabricated screenshot can appear completely authentic. And if the image is paired with a believable headline, viewers may never stop to investigate. This is how misinformation works. It doesn't always begin with something obviously ridiculous. Sometimes it begins with something that feels possible. Tom Holland and Zendaya are a real couple. They are both young. They are extremely successful. They have spoken publicly about their relationship and future in different ways over the years. So the idea of them eventually becoming parents isn't impossible. But possible is not the same as confirmed. That distinction is the key to understanding this entire story. Fans can speculate. Fans can hope. Fans can discuss possibilities. But a possibility cannot become a fact simply because people want it to be true. And that brings us back to the phrase, Baby Spidey. The nickname itself is clever. It connects Tom's most famous character with a potential new chapter in his personal life. It is short, memorable, emotional, and perfect for social media. That may be another reason the story spread so quickly. The internet loves simple narratives. Baby Spidey is much easier to remember than a complicated explanation about an unverified social media claim. Once a catchy phrase exists, it can become a brand for the rumor itself. And then every new post feeds the same story. But behind all the excitement is a real-world issue. Tom Holland and Zendaya are human beings. If they eventually decide to start a family, that announcement belongs to them. Not to anonymous accounts. Not to edited photographs. Not to clickbait headlines. And not to anyone trying to turn their private lives into viral content before they are ready. If there is genuine news someday, the strongest evidence will come directly from them or from a trustworthy source quoting them accurately. Everything else should be treated with caution. That doesn't mean fans have to stop being excited. It simply means excitement should not replace verification. And there is another reason this story deserves attention. It shows just how powerful celebrity culture has become. Fans feel connected to stars they have never met. They watch interviews. They follow careers. They celebrate achievements. They discuss relationships. They feel like they know these people. And sometimes that emotional connection becomes so strong that speculation feels personal. A rumor about a celebrity doesn't feel like distant news anymore. It feels like something happening to someone fans care about. That is why Baby Spidey generated such a strong reaction. For fans of Tom and Zendaya, it isn't just a random Hollywood rumor. It potentially represents the next chapter of two people they have watched grow up in front of the world. But there is something we shouldn't forget. The public knows only a small part of their lives. We see interviews. We see red carpets. We see movie premieres. We see carefully chosen photographs. We don't see everything that happens behind closed doors. And that means there will always be gaps. The internet loves filling those gaps. Sometimes with facts. Sometimes with assumptions. And sometimes with pure imagination. The challenge is knowing which one you're looking at. So where does that leave the Baby Spidey story? For now, the answer is simple. It remains unconfirmed. The viral live stream narrative does not, by itself, establish a pregnancy announcement. The alleged DNA statement should not be treated as confirmed without reliable evidence. And pregnancy-related images circulating online should not be considered proof, especially when questions exist about manipulation or AI generation. That doesn't mean the opposite has been proven either. It doesn't prove that Tom and Zendaya definitely aren't expecting. It simply means that there isn't enough verified information to make the claim as fact. And sometimes, the most accurate answer is the least exciting one. We don't know. That may not satisfy the internet. But it is the truth. And if Tom Holland and Zendaya eventually have major personal news to share, their announcement will almost certainly be bigger than any viral rumor. Imagine it. No anonymous caption. No mysterious screenshot. No questionable photograph. Just Tom and Zendaya speaking for themselves. At that moment, millions of people would listen. Because when the real announcement comes, if it ever does, there will be no need for speculation. No need for detectives. No need to analyze every photograph. The facts will speak for themselves. Until then, the best thing fans can do is separate excitement from evidence. Because the internet moves incredibly fast. A rumor can reach millions of people in minutes. But correcting a false story can take days, weeks, or sometimes never happen completely. That is why every viewer has a role to play. Before sharing a shocking celebrity story, stop. Look at the source. Watch the original clip. Search for the full context. Ask whether the celebrity actually said what the headline claims. And remember that an image can be edited. A caption can be misleading. And repetition does not turn a rumor into reality. The Baby Spidey story may eventually disappear. Or it may become one of those rumors people remember years later. Maybe one day Tom and Zendaya really will announce that they are entering a new chapter together. Maybe they won't. Either way, that decision belongs to them. And perhaps that is the biggest lesson hidden inside this viral story. The most important thing isn't whether the internet can predict Tom Holland and Zendaya's future. It's whether the internet can learn to wait for the truth. Because sometimes the biggest celebrity story isn't the one that spreads the fastest. It's the one that is finally confirmed by the people at the center of it. And until that moment arrives, Baby Spidey remains a viral story, not a confirmed announcement. So what do you think? Was this simply another celebrity rumor created from misleading captions, questionable images, and online speculation? Or do you think Tom Holland and Zendaya could eventually surprise the world with major news of their own? Whatever happens next, one thing is certain. If Tom and Zendaya ever decide that the time is right to share a new chapter of their lives,